Hello everybody and welcome back to DCM, Doritos, Connections, and Mountain Dew, your favorite local video game talk show. I am your host, Howard Miller.
And I'm your co-host, David Scrivani.
And let's start off with the news. For our first story, apparently in the disc of Homefront: The Revolution, you can find a literal whole entire other game on the disc. 6 years ago, the game Homefront: The Revolution came out to about scathing reviews, and it basically underperformed every single thing you can imagine, whether it be critical success and commercial success. To basically put it bluntly, no one liked the game. So why am I bringing this up? Because apparently people have the disc for the game, and they found a completely different game inside the game itself. In Homefront, you can go to an arcade and play some games on like an arcade machine as a cute little Easter egg. One of which is Time Splitter 2. However, it's just a port of an old arcade version. It's like the first 2 levels. But by hacking the game, you can find a full 4K remaster of the story mode for Time Splitter 2 with one code. So Homefront Revolution has a 4K remaster of Time Splitter 2 locked on its disc. This port was found long after the developer shipped the game, meaning this Easter egg is the only way to play Time Splitters 2 in the modern era of gaming. Which, of course, with all this buzz, people are still wondering when the company who owns it, Deep Silver, is going to actually port the Time Splitter games, and there's still no word of it at all. Also, as a public PSA, don't play Homefront: The Revolution. It's bad.
So you're saying if I want to play Time Splitters 2, like, decently, I have to spend $60 on Homefront: The Revolution.
Well, it's $5 because no one bought it, but that means you have to play 9 hours of the game to get the Time Splitter 2.
So basically I have to spend $60 worth of my time to play Time Splitters 2.
Unfortunately.
Wow. Also in the news, just announced, the E3 conference will be finally returning after a absence last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. E3 will be returning as an online event, open to all. It'll be running from June 12th to the 15th. Developers like Nintendo, Microsoft, Capcom, Konami, and Ubisoft have already signed on to participate. No sign of Sony as of yet. My guess is that they'll probably be doing most things at their State of Play whenever that happens. I think they did like a couple last year, actually. But who knows? We'll see. E3's coming back. What do you think?
I don't care.
I only have one thing I want from E3. And this is something we talked about when we covered the Game Awards. I just want to see Wolf Among Us 2.
Yeah.
Please?
Can we watch? Can we have
It's been 2 years since that trailer came out?
It's been 2 years, yes.
Maybe more. I think 3 years, because wasn't that the same year they announced Mortal Kombat 11?
Oh my god, yeah.
So it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
Give us some more. I want Wolf Among Us 2. That's all I want from this.
They're too busy porting Batman. What was it? Batman Enemy Within, but in black and white.
Yeah. Which, hey, I like the Batman Telltale games, but like, I've played them already. Give me something new. Give me Wolf Among Us 2. Please. I'm begging you here.
In other news, one of the weirdest turnarounds is MLB The Show, the franchise, is now moving to another console. So when they were renegotiating the contracts, as this is a Sony exclusive game, Major League Baseball, I guess, decided that the Sony game studio can still make the games, but it has to go to other consoles now. Which means that Sony is now making games for Xbox. The MLB, the company, has decided that due to the lack of other baseball games on the whole entire console, they would imagine that, I guess, sharing the game with other fans would be more profitable, which, you know, exclusives, fun fact, they don't sell well. They don't sell well, so when they bomb hard because they're only on one console. And to make matters worse, I guess not worse, but to make matters better for the consumer, they just announced recently that MLB The Show 21, the newest entries in the series, is going to be a day one addition to the Xbox streaming service Xbox Game Pass. So, as a matter of speaking, Xbox Game Pass day one is going to have an ex-Sony exclusive game, which that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And remember, this is This is all done at the behest of Major League Baseball. They wanted this. Sony, they had no say on this whatsoever. This was all a creative choice done by Major League Baseball.
I also wasn't even aware that the MLB 2K games were Sony exclusive to begin with.
No, these aren't the 2K. It's the show.
Oh, the show.
The show, yeah. I think MLB 2K is gone now.
No,
I think they canceled that series.
I don't play sports games. I have no reason to keep track of them.
There's on Xbox. I know there's only 2 baseball series: Super Mega Baseball and RBI Baseball, which apparently RBI Baseball is trash.
I never even heard of RBI Baseball.
I know. I literally found out about it today, and it's like, oh, it's garbage. And I'm like, thank you.
All right. That won't be coming up on our What You Guys Been Playing segment anytime soon.
Yeah.
Old school first-person shooter Dusk is getting a 2D remake based on classic puzzle games like Chips Challenge and Sokoban. Announced initially on April 1st, many fans took Dusk 82 to be an April Fool's Day joke. However, a week later, on April 8th, developer David Zemansky took to YouTube to say otherwise in a video entitled Dusk 82 is real, LOL. Dusk 82 will also include a built-in level editor for players to create their own puzzles based around the spooky town of Dusk, Pennsylvania. I've never really played any of these classic puzzles. I've never even heard of these games until this game was announced, but maybe I'll check it out. Who knows? Looks neat.
I don't know. The last time I heard like Demastered was what was that game? The Mummy Demastered.
Oh, that was such a good game.
I didn't play it. Was it really?
I played like maybe half an hour, but I loved every second of it.
Oh yeah, what was it? Way Forward?
I think so.
They make good games. They make very good games. For our final story today, in case you all might not know, I just want to inform you guys about the term review bombing. It's a tactic people use on like websites that allow users to rate games, movies, and usually a bunch of people go with one goal to give it 0 out of 10s to make the user score look bad in order to address an issue. This is what's happening with the Square Enix's game Nier Automata. Nier Automata released 3 to 4 years ago and had a PC port, of course, and the PC port is garbage. It does not support 4K resolution, it barely hits 60 frames per second, you can't even hit full screen on your computer window for it. So of course fans are disappointed, and it makes it even worse, which causes the review bombing, when Nier Automata was added to the Xbox Game Pass lineup for the PC. And they made their own PC port, which is objectively better than the PC port that was already there. So now, fans of Nier Automata are review bombing on Steam that version of Nier Automata, the inferior one, which after a month of review bombing, finally Square Enix has issued a statement that they are going to patch the PC port of Nier Automata to fix it and hopefully make it go up to Xbox's superior PC port.
Nothing says professional like fixing a 4-year-old port after a better one came out.
When the new game is literally coming out in, right as we're recording this, 2 weeks. And now let's move to our next segment. Hey guys, what you been playing?
I've been playing recently a game I've actually mentioned on the show briefly before, Dusk. Ironic considering I covered Dusk 82 in the news. Dusk is a old school first-person shooter by David Zemansky, released under the New Blood Interactive Studio. I describe it akin to a kind of a spiritual successor to both Quake and Blood, both in its visual design aesthetics and its culty aspects that Blood has. When I covered it on the show before, I'd only played a single level, even then I'd already fallen in love with it. Now, coming back, God knows how long it's been since we recorded that episode.
I think like 6 months.
6 months later, I've actually beaten the game. And let me tell you guys, it is incredible. That first episode lulls you into a false sense of security. You think, oh yeah, this is just going to be a nice 90s throwback first-person shooter. And then you get to the second episode, and the level design just opens way, way up. there's a map called the Escher Labs that at first looks to be just a generic science laboratory level, and then all of a sudden, as the name implies, it becomes an MC Escher painting of a level. It's difficult to describe. I'm sure we'll have some footage of the level playing over me talking, because it's incredible. It blew my mind, and I believe I saw an interview with David Zemansky saying that that level specifically was kind of kickstarted his creative workflow again. He was stuck on what to do, and then he was like, "Oh, hold on, I could do something kind of cool with this level, huh?"
Ooh.
And then he got going again, and then episode 3 was incredible because it calls back to a bunch of other levels from earlier in the game, but they're all twisted and corrupted. Whew. Love it. Also, there's for any Blood fans, there's not really a cameo, but there's a certain voice actor who shows up near the end of the game will take you by surprise. I was surprised myself. But Dusk is currently available on PC, and I want to say Mac as well, with a Switch port coming hopefully this year.
That's what you said last time, too.
It is what I said last time.
That is what you said last time.
And nothing's been said since.
And nothing happened. The end. So what have I been playing? I've been playing Saints Row the Third Remastered. The third game in the series that basically just parodies GTA. They actually remastered it. It originally came out sometime, I think I want to say like early 2010s. They remastered it for next gen. And oh my god, the difference is actually stunning. I'll show some pictures of the before and after, but I've seen some articles saying that graphically this is one of the biggest remasters that anyone has ever done, and you can tell. You can tell. There's new lighting systems, new textures, new everything, right? Even though it's still the same game repackaged and all that jazz. What's the game about? The game is, again, a parody of GTA. So after taking over the town twice, in the third game, they're basically celebrities and they rob banks and everyone just lets them do it. Fun. And basically, no one likes the fact that they're celebrities. So, new town to take over, mayhem ensues, absolute chaos, and with 3 new gangs, a bunch of weird Europeans, luchadors, and emo hackers. As ridiculous as this sounds.
That's what I call a fun Saturday night.
That's what we call a smorgasbord. The game is, to reiterate, absolute chaos. You can do whatever you want. You can play a bunch of mini games where you're in a helicopter shooting cars. You can run around the town stealing cars and making them look like cool sports cars and drive them around the town. Fend off zombie invasions, or just dress up like a guy in a hot dog suit and just go to town destroying everything like a delinquent. It's incredibly fun. One thing I did notice, because I haven't played the game since it came out, the story, incredibly short. It only takes like less than 10 hours to beat the story, and they added all the DLC campaigns, and the DLC campaigns are also short. So like, story's about 12 hours, give or take. I think to complete everything, it takes about 30. So like, if you can get this for like $20, honestly, pretty good value, pretty good deal, pretty fun game. Also, PSA, this game isn't for children in any way, shape, or form. Please don't buy this for your kid. Like at all, one bit, don't do it.
The ESRB exists for a reason.
Yeah, don't blame me. There's a lot of reasons people don't like the game, and it's not because, it's violent. It's because of a lot of bad things. Too many bad things. Saints Row the Third the Remastered Edition is now available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. And now, on to our next segment. So absolutely breaking news is, I guess, Bloomberg reported that Sony had an internal press briefing where they're discussing games that they're going to make. Now, of course, for gamers, generally, when studios announce new things, good stuff. However, this report was pretty weird and actually kind of alarming, where Sony plans to refocus their games for blockbuster games, meaning they're only going to focus on games that will make them a lot of money, I guess. They canceled Days Gone 2, which was a as much as it wasn't a critical success, it was an absolute commercial success, selling well over 4 million copies. They canceled the sequel to it to announce The Last of Us Remastered. And they then
Again.
I'm sorry, remake. Not remastered, remake. And along with that, they're only focusing on 3 big franchises at the moment. God of War 6, Uncharted, and Last of Us. So if you're a fan of any other franchise that they ever made, you're most likely not going to get anything. But here's the issue that we have today, is that The Last of Us, a game that is less than 10 years old, came out in 2013.
And by the time the remake comes out, it'll probably be 10 years old.
It'll probably be 10 years old. And it got a remastered port in which everyone thinks that the game was released on the PlayStation 4. So they plan to remake The Last of Us. They haven't really gave any hints, but I think me and Dave both have one concerning question of
why?
There's no reason from what we've gathered. We both played the game. It's a very good movie. And I really can't think what they would do with a remake. Because this isn't a remaster. A remaster means you take an ugly game and you make it look pretty. A remake is when you build it from the ground up into something different, right? Just like a movie, right? Think of remasters as like when you take an old movie and put it on Blu-ray, and think of a remake like when you have a really old movie and Hollywood needs to put lifeblood into it, so they make a new product that's nothing like it at all, but that has the same title. Just imagine it like that. Why does a less than 10-year-old game need one?
As Howard mentioned, we've both played the game. We like it. I really enjoy it. I never really got the hype around The Last of Us, but I can see why people think it's like, the be-all, end-all of video gaming. And I'm not saying I wouldn't think it'd be cool to see it remade with all the polish that The Last of Us Part 2 has, because for the problems The Last of Us 2 has, it's a dang good-looking game. It's one of the most gorgeous games I've ever played. But do we need The Last of Us remade? The answer, I swear to God. I'm just going to ignore it from now on.
Okay.
Unless it really falls down.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought.
Do we really need
The Last of Us remade? The answer, unsurprisingly, is no.
All the things that Dave want, you could just do in a remaster, right? You could just make another remaster. You could just make it look pretty again. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, absolutely.
But like the amount of hours and manpower to make a remake of a game when you just could make a third one instead?
Or what I would like to see, I'd love to see a new IP from Naughty Dog.
Or how about a new Jak and Daxter from Naughty Dog?
That doesn't exist according to PlayStation.
That hurts.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Exactly.
When was the last time Jak and Daxter had anything?
I don't know.
Other than like an HD collection. Absolutely. And like it just seems like this is by the way a cash grab for normal people, right? This is just a cash grab who just sees The Last of Us and just buys it. Mm-hmm. This is not to be like mean, but like this is the sheeples game. There's really no need for this, but they just know people are going to buy it. And honestly,
it's probably going to work.
It's absolutely going to work. And they canceled Days Gone 2 to do this. So and if you are a Days Gone fan...
Sucks, apparently.
Yeah, if you are a fan of any IP Sony has that isn't the 3, well, I'm sorry, but you're going to get a Last of Us remake instead. I'm so disappointed.
So am I. Again, I like The Last of Us. I would consider myself a fan of The Last of Us. But we don't need this. I don't think anyone even wants it.
No, there's a fringe fanatic for Sony minority who wants this.
All right. This is messages to you guys then, the people who want it. Shut up!
Like, do you know how many better IP... Sony has, like, up there with Nintendo for the best collection of IPs, and they never do absolutely anything with them. They never do. They never do any bit. Like, I was looking on Twitter, and there's just a list of how many IPs that Sony has not touched since, like, the PS3. This includes things like Twisted Metal. This includes things like Jak and Daxter. Like, these are, like, multi-million seller games here that they're just going like, no. We want to remake The Last of Us instead.
It's because they know that it'll make money. I from a business perspective, I understand it because from a business perspective, I understand it because think about it this way, like, say they bring back Sly Cooper.
Yeah.
How much money do you think they will make off a new Sly Cooper game versus another Last of Us?
If they put the money into the advertising they had for Last of Us, the same amount, but they're not going to do it for Sly Cooper because they don't know if they will make that much money back.
That's the point.
That's the point.
They don't. It's more of a risk to bring back one of those old IPs that has been dead for so long.
I mean, look at the Medieval remake. They didn't care, like, at all. They didn't put any money
I
into
kind of
marketing.
forgot that remake came out.
I know, but it exists. They didn't do it. You know, they just dropped it when they didn't have enough exclusives for the Christmas season and just said, here you go. Have fun. Bye. So honestly, it's lazy. It's going to make money, but it's just stupid, dumb, and a waste of time.
Yeah.
There's no need. Now, there are rumors that people are theorizing that it's to add stuff from the HBO show that they're making for The Last of Us, and they're going to put it into the game. What if, okay, now hear me out. What if they remade the game, called it a new name, like Clickers Are Us, or Scared Little Girl and Big Papa Man, right?
I'd buy it. You kidding me? Clickers Are Us. I'd buy that.
Analogy's over. You ruined it. I'm done. I'm done with this.
You shouldn't have made such a good joke then.
Sucks to be funny, I guess. Yeah, I guess moral of the story is this is dumb. It's dumb, waste of time. We don't need it. 5 people want it. It's not worth it.
Either make new IPs or bring old IPs back, please.
Or just make Last of Us 3. It's really not that hard.
I don't even really think there's a need for a third game.
And now for our next segment, we got our buddy, Cecil the Lion, to give us his thoughts and takes on Doom 3 in our new segment, Roaring Retrospective. Check it out. Hello, everybody, and welcome to DCM, Doritos, Connections, and Mountain Dew, your favorite local video game talk show. I am your host, Howard Miller.
I'm your co-host, David Scrivani.
And today we have a new segment to introduce into the DCM cinematic universe called Roaring Retrospective, where we ask our in-house retro expert his thoughts and reviews on classic gaming staples. And speaking of our host, we have our best friend, podcast extraordinaire, future top-tier director, and retro game aficionado, Cecil the Lion. How's it going, buddy?
How's it going, Howard?
You know what? It's going good. What about you, Dave?
It's going pretty good.
Everything's good. Everything's peachy keen. Now, we've picked the easiest game for this segment because this is very impromptu. But we picked a game that we all know, we all played, and it's one of your favorite franchises, Doom. And considering the buzz about the game, we were wondering if we can get some of your thoughts on id Software's 2004 decisive release of Doom 3. So, Cecil, if you want to address our viewers with backstory of the franchise and what led you to this game and all that wonderful jazz, go for it.
So, believe it or not, Doom 3 is actually my first Doom game.
It was that was the popped cherry for Doom. It was Doom 3.
It was the turning point. Because back then, Doom 1 and 2 were in DOS only. So around early 2000s, Halo kind of took the spotlight. Then Doom 4 came back. I'm like, whoa, what is Doom? And my older brother who did play Doom 1 and 2 back in the day on the PlayStation, ironically, He's like, oh, dude, it's about how they opened a gate to hell. I was pretty much sold instantly in the concept.
So it was opening a gate to hell?
Yeah, that's how
That's
we
what drew
pitched
you
me.
to it. Okay.
Yeah. It's like
Understandable.
hell, demons, that was the pretty much easiest pitch in the world.
And how can you give us an age range of how old you were when you'd made this extremely important decision?
So this was 2004, so I was I was 10.
You were 10? You know what? I don't think I had that thought process when I was 10. I don't think I was that cool yet.
See, I actually have no memory of when I first played Doom. I'm going on my dad's what's the word I'm looking for? My dad's testimony that when I was a small David, he would sit me on his lap at the old computer and we'd play the original Doom. I have absolutely no memory of this, but apparently it is a thing that happened.
Apparently that's the thing that happened. So Doom 3 is the first game. So why don't you give us some quick thoughts about the franchise as a whole?
Franchise as a whole?
Yeah, franchise as a whole.
I don't think there's really been a bad Doom game, not counting like the RPG spinoffs, but like, main entries, Doom 1, 2, 3, 64, Doom 3, the new ones, even Final Doom, it's more of an expansion pack, but I don't think there's been a bad Doom game to date.
So can you give us let's see if you can go for like a good 5 minutes, your review and thoughts of Doom 3. Explain it to people in a nice way because we're a game show that explains it to the common man.
I think what we should do first is, because Doom 3 is such a different experience from the rest of the series, I think we should have him explain that first.
Okay.
Before he goes into his critical thoughts.
Yeah.
Pretty much every other Doom game, you run at like 100 miles per hour, shooting demons, finding the key card and exit. Doom 3 is more slower. It's more like almost like a movie, but think of like an early 2000s shooter, how it's more paced like Half-Life, level by level. And one of the most controversial features was it was dark and you had a flashlight, but no duct tape to your gun. So you had to choose between your gun or your flashlight, which, when I was a kid, I didn't mind it because I'm like, oh, look at all the cool graphics. It's, it really shows off the light. But
Keynote, back then they were cool graphics. Now they're ugly.
well, to be fair, I think it was 8 years later, they re-released it under the also controversial BFG edition, which controversially adds the flashlight to your shoulder mount. And, you can toggle it anytime. So
how do you feel about being able to use the flashlight and your weapons?
after playing for a while, I do like it because it makes the pacing a lot faster. Doom 3 is a long game. It's probably longer than the rest of the games in the series. So
So I guess to explain this to the viewers, in the original Doom 3, the controversy is in the original Doom 3, it's a first-person shooter. So that means you hold a gun in front of you, the character, and then you shoot something. But the game was a horror game, so you'd have to painfully have a flashlight and then switch to your gun because you can only hold apparently one thing at a time. And then BFG, they added the flashlight so you didn't have to hold it. It was just on.
yeah, except just like Half-Life 1, it died after like 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I actually saw a clip recently of John Carmack, the former game director at Software.
And with that out of the way, I'm Howard.
I'm David.
And I'm Cecil.
And that's the end of our segment. Good night, everybody. Remember, this is a clip from our new segment. To watch the full episode, go on our YouTube channel at Doritos Connections in Mountain Dew on YouTube. Thank you very much. And that was the end of our show. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. And if you have any thoughts, please share it. Tell me I'm wrong. At me on Twitter. Fight me. Not physically, though. That's mean. Of course.
DM me on Twitter and I'll give you his address so you can fight him physically.
Wait, no. Hold on. We're ending this now. No.